Her sister and fiancé fired her so they could run the show. I hired her to fix my operations, and she proved that competence was the only asset that mattered. I wasn't in the room when it happened, but I knew the players. In our city, the logistics industry is small. You know who the serious operators are. Vivian Lin was the only other serious operator. She ran Lin Group, her family's mid-sized logistics firm. She turned it from a trucking company into a supply chain hub. She was competent. Her family was not. It happened on a Tuesday. Vivian walked into the boardroom. She stood out immediately. She was wearing a cream suit made of heavy, structured fabric that held its shape when she moved. It was tailored perfectly, the kind of fit that makes a person look armored. Her hair was a black bob, cut sharp at the chin. She sat down. Her back didn't touch the chair. She placed her hands on the table, her long fingers devoid of jewelry except for a modest engagement ring that looked cheap against her skin. Waiting for her were the three people she trusted most: Arthur Lin, her father; Chloe Lin, her younger sister; and Mark, her fiancé and VP of procurement. "Have a seat, Vivian," Arthur said. He looked pleased. "What's going on?" she asked. Her voice was low, steady. "Is this about the Q3 projections?" "It's about unauthorized vendor payments," Mark said. He looked at the folder in front of him, refusing to meet her eyes. "What?" A small frown appeared between her brows. "Mark, we audited the vendors last month. Everything was clean." "Not everything," Mark said. He slid the folder across the table. Vivian opened it. Her dark eyes scanned the pages. They weren't just emails. They were bank transfer records, authorized by her digital security token, deposited into a shell account opened in her name in the Caymans. They were fake. Expensive, sophisticated fakes. "I didn't authorize these," Vivian said. She tucked a strand of black hair behind her ear. "Check the server logs. Check the IP addresses." "We did," Chloe said. She was sitting next to their father, dabbing at her eyes with a tissue. She looked distraught, but her eyes were dry and alert. "They came from your laptop, Viv. Mark found the token logs." Vivian looked at Mark, the man she was supposed to marry in June. He looked away. He shifted in his seat. "Mark," she asked quietly, "I can't cover for you anymore, Vivian." Mark recited, his voice flat. "I have a duty to the shareholders." Arthur cleared his throat. "This is fraud, Vivian. Embezzlement. If we go to the police, you go to prison for 10 years. The room was silent, but Arthur continued. "We are family. We don't want to see you in a cell." He slid a document across the table. "Resign. Cite health reasons. Transfer your 15% stake to Chloe. Do that, and the folder disappears." Vivian looked at them. She looked at Chloe. The tissue was down now. Chloe offered a small, sad smile that didn't reach her eyes. It was a look of pure, petty victory. She didn't react emotionally. She just went pale. She took a pen from her purse, a heavy Mont Blanc. She signed the paper. She stood up and straightened her jacket. "You will bankrupt this company in 2 years," she said. "Get out," Arthur said. She walked out. She left her laptop. She left her keys. She walked out of the building, her heels clicking on the marble floor, and she didn't look back. 8 months passed. I was busy. Kincaid Solutions was integrating a new AI logistics platform. It was a massive project involving coding and server migration. I didn't have time for gossip, but I checked on her status. "Any movement on Vivian Lin?" I asked my assistant, Sarah, one morning. "Nothing, sir," Sarah said. "She's still unemployed. Rumor is she applied to Peterson Logistics, but they passed. The embezzlement story is everywhere. People are saying she has a gambling problem, too." "Of course they are," I said. Chloe made sure of that. Vivian was toxic property. In a mid-sized market, reputation is everything. If people think you steal from your own father, you don't get hired. Chloe Lin was playing the concerned sister at every country club lunch, weeping about Vivian's troubles while poisoning the well. I knew she wasn't stealing. Vivian Lin didn't care about money. She cared about efficiency. Stealing was inefficient. I knew she wasn't starving. She had a paid-off condo in the Arts District. I pictured her there, sitting in her living room, reading, waiting. It was a waste of talent, and I intended to use it. November. The software integration was done. We were live. We were scalable. I needed a general. I called her on a Tuesday. "Hello." Her voice was cool. "Vivian, it's Damon Kincaid." A pause. "Damon, to what do I owe the pleasure? Are you calling about your Q3 numbers?" I'm calling to buy you dinner. The Chop House on 4th Street. 7:30 tonight. Don't eat beforehand. What do you want, Damon? I want to talk, I said. I have a business proposal for you. I'm not interested in pity. I don't do pity. I do business. 7:30. I hung up. She was there at 7:25. She wore a slate gray turtleneck and black trousers. The outfit was severe, monochromatic. The lighting in the restaurant highlighted the sharp angle of her jaw and the straight line of her nose. Her presence changed the atmosphere of the booth. She sat with a contained energy that drew the eye. People were looking at her. They recognized her. She ignored them. I sat down. I poured her a glass of wine. I hear you're enjoying the unemployed life, I said. I'm enjoying not being stabbed in the back, she replied. She reached for the glass. It's refreshing. How's the job hunt? She gave a short, dry laugh. You know how it is, Damon. Peterson wouldn't even interview me. My sister has been very busy ensuring everyone knows about my instability. Peterson is an idiot, I said. He still uses spreadsheets for tracking. True. A small smile touched her lips. The waiter brought the steaks. We ate in silence for a moment. She cut her meat with precise, even strokes. You didn't bring me here to complain about Peterson, she said, putting her fork down. What is the proposal? I need a COO, I said. She stopped. You have a COO. Jim Reynolds. Jim is retiring. I need someone to replace him. And you want me? I want the best operator in the city. That's you. Damon, she said. I have a reputation. If you hire me, your investors will panic. Your clients will get nervous. Chloe will tell everyone I'm embezzling from you before the ink is dry. I took a sip of my scotch. Let them panic, I said. You can't just say that. You have a board. I have 72% of the voting shares, I said, and ironclad bylaws. My board is a group of silent investors I see twice a year. They can complain, but they can't fire me, and they can't fire you. Vivian stared at me. 72%. Absolute control. You run a dictatorship, she said. I run a meritocracy, I said, and I don't let talent sit on the shelf because of family drama. I slid a napkin across the table. It had a salary figure written in blue ink. I handle the vision, I said. You handle the machine. You run operations, HR, procurement, total autonomy. I don't micromanage. She looked at the number. Why, she asked. Because I'm great at building things, I said, but I'm terrible at maintaining them. You're the best mechanic I know. She looked at the napkin. Then she looked out the window. I saw the interest in her eyes. She missed the work. When do I start? She asked. Tomorrow. 8 a.m. Don't be late. The first month was tense. Vivian walked into Kincaid Solutions defensively. She kept her door closed. She documented every decision. She was waiting for me to question her expenses or override her orders. I didn't. On her third week, she came into my office. She wore a charcoal blazer that fit perfectly. She held a tablet. Damon, she said, I want to switch our fleet maintenance vendor. The current one is overcharging by 12%. I didn't look up from our monitor. Okay. She stood there. The new vendor is a smaller shop, but their turnaround time is faster. Okay, I said again. Do you want to see the proposal? I stopped typing. I turned my chair to face her. Vivian, I said, I hired you to fix the fleet. If you think this fixes the fleet, do it. Why are you asking me? She blinked. She looked confused. Arthur always wanted to sign off on vendor changes, even the small ones. I'm not Arthur, I said. I trust you. Handle it. She stared at me. The tension in her shoulders dropped. Okay, she said. I will. Good. That was the turning point. The staff noticed. They saw that I treated her with respect. The rumors stopped. They saw her competence. They saw her reorganizing the warehouse, streamlining the dispatch routes, cutting waste. Kincaid Solutions ran smoother, and Vivian changed. She stopped being so rigid. She left her door open. She smiled at the receptionists. One evening in December, we were the last two in the building. A storm had delayed the trucks, and we were handling the logistics. We shared a bourbon in my office after the crisis was averted. We didn't talk about work. We talked about architecture. We talked about why we do this. For the first time, she laughed, a real unguarded sound. I saw the woman behind the operator, and I knew I was in trouble. 2 years later, Kincaid Solutions was the market leader. We had exceeded the quarterly targets. Lynn Group was struggling. Chloe was making bad deals. Arthur was making gut instinct decisions that lost money. Mark had botched 3 major contracts. We were winning. I walked into Vivian's office on a Friday afternoon. She was staring at her phone. Her face was pale. "What's wrong?" I asked. She turned the phone around. A text message. "Mark, hey Viv. Long time. I was thinking about us. I made a mistake. Can we grab coffee?" I felt angry. "He wants a job," I said. "Or he wants you to fix a mess he made." "Probably both," Vivian said. She looked disgusted. Then her desk phone rang. She checked the caller ID. "Arthur Lynn. They're calling," she said. "They know we're winning." I walked over to her desk. I leaned against the edge. "Do you want me to buy their building?" I asked. "I can do it. I can buy the debt, foreclose, and turn their headquarters into a parking lot." She looked up at me. She saw that I wasn't joking. She looked at the phone ringing. Then she laughed. It wasn't bitter. It was genuine. "No," she said. "It's not worth the cost of the asphalt." She picked up the phone and pressed decline. "Besides," she said, looking at me directly, "we have actual work to do." 6 months later, Lynn Group collapsed. They filed for bankruptcy. I proposed an acquisition, not of the company, but of the client list and the physical assets. Trucks, warehouses. We got them for cheap. The closing meeting was in our conference room. Vivian sat at the head of the table. She wore a black suit. Her hair was sleek. She looked calm. I sat to her right. Across from us were Arthur and Chloe. They looked terrible. Arthur looked old. Chloe looked frightened. Her mask of sweetness completely gone. Mark wasn't there. He had been fired. Vivian slid the contract across the table. "This is the offer," she said. Her voice was professional. "We buy the fleet. We take the client list. You keep the brand name." "Vivian," Arthur said, his voice shaking. "Please. This is your heritage." Vivian looked at him. Her eyes were empty of emotion. "My heritage is competence," she said simply. "This is just business." She treated them like strangers. Arthur signed. Chloe wouldn't look at her. "My legal team will send over the transfer documents by 5, Vivian said, standing up. "We're done here." She walked out. I followed her. She went to her office. She stood by the window, looking out at the city. I closed the door. "Are you okay?" I asked. She turned. She looked relieved. "I'm fine," she said. "It's done." I walked over to her. We stood close. "We have a lot of new trucks to integrate," she said. "We do. It's going to be a lot of work." "I know." She looked at me. The silence was heavy. "Damon," she said. "Vivian, I realized something," she said. "I don't care about the Lynn name. I just care about this. This company. This partnership," she said. I took a breath. "I realized something too," I said. "I own 72% of this company. I answer to no one, but I don't want to run it unless you're in the office next door." She looked at me. "Are you saying what I think you're saying?" "I'm saying I don't want a COO anymore," I said. "I want a partner, in every sense." I reached into my pocket. No ring, just a key. "This is the key to my house," I said. "Move in." She looked at the key. She looked at me. A smile spread across her face. "Yes," she said. She took the key. "But I have conditions." "Name them." "I want 1% of your shares." I laughed. "I'll give you half." She stepped closer. She put her hand on my chest. "Deal," she said. I kissed her. It wasn't a hostile takeover. It was a merger, and it was perfect.